Greetings, Gemini and Gemini rising. This is your Western forecast for May 2025. The sun's in Taurus the first 3 weeks of every May. Where the sun is shining is where your priorities and attention is being drawn to. Taurus is the sign prior to Gemini. I call it the shadow sector. It is 12 houses from Gemini. So the sun, the first 3 weeks, is putting a spotlight on 12th house matters. The 12th house can be a cycle of incubation, of a holding pattern, or doing a lot of development behind the scenes to give birth when the sun goes into Gemini, May the 20th, for those next 4 weeks. That's the small picture. The big picture is a paradigm shift because Neptune, kind of visionary, aspirational, idealistic Neptune in the positive. In the negative, Neptune can be deceptive or disillusion, but always sticking with the positive. Neptune last month in April entered into Aries, the first time in 166 years. So in the collective consciousness of Neptune in Aries is Aries fighting for your ideals, fighting for your vision, which goes along very nicely with transformational, powerful Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign compatible with Neptune in Aries, a fire sign. And so Pluto in Aquarius, for about the next 20 years, is the power of the people. Aquarius is community on a smaller level, or the global village on the ultimate level. And the last time was 240 some years ago. Now, the Neptune in Aries is 11 signs past Gemini. The 11th house deals with your goals and dreams and aspirations. The 11th house deals with friendships, social networking, teamwork. This Neptune is being joined by Saturn. Saturn is a 30-year cycle, or 29 and a half years. May the 24th, Saturn moves into Aries until the end of August. Saturn will then will retrograde back into Pisces. Make sure you learned your lessons when Saturn was in Pisces, tying up loose ends. Saturn will move back into Aries in February. So will Neptune, because Neptune will retrograde out of Aries about this end of October, November, December, January, and go back into Pisces. Also tying up loose ends. Make sure you learned the lesson before moving on. But Neptune and Saturn come together every 38 years. And it's peaking next February, but it's being set up and getting clues at the end of May right now. Neptune is the vision, and Aries, we're going to fight for it. We're going to we'll assert ourselves to go for it. And Saturn manifests. Saturn develops and builds the dream. In the most positive, especially in this period of great uncertainty, Saturn-Neptune can make our dreams, our vision, seem more real, or can manifest or make our dreams real. This is why this is this big paradigm shift. And so the Saturn in Aries is also in your 11th house. 11th house, you're looking to your future, your aspirations, your long-range goals. Now, Venus is the planet of love and desire and creativity. Venus is very social. Venus went into Aries back in February. Then it retrograded, remember, March the 1st. Then as we went into April, it had retrograded back into Pisces, tying up loose ends. And as we go into the beginning of May, Venus is back in Aries into early June. So this Venus is in Aries, is aligning all month with Neptune in Aries. Venus and Neptune can be highly creative, very romantic, very dreamy. It's in the 11th house. Now, some of the things to be aware of is the 11th house is friendships. And with a Venus-Neptune, if you're making a new friend and you're thinking this friend is, you're putting a friend on a pedestal, they may come crashing down to earth because that Neptune can deal with disappointments. This, you might get yourself involved with a new group of friends or get involved with an organization or with a group. And with Venus-Neptune on the positive, you're all with all these grand expectations, but you make sure to stay grounded. So Saturn, the Venus-Neptune is very idealistic and dreamy. Look to the positive of the 11th. With your future, with your networking, with organizations, wanting to save the world with that Venus-Neptune. The Saturn going into Aries on May the 24th is helping the dream, the idealism to become more realistic and to develop the vision and make it real. Now back to, before I go further, if you enjoy these types of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe, and don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. Now, I started off by saying the sun's in Taurus the first 3 weeks of every May, always putting a spotlight on your 12th house, where you're in a holding pattern, you're incubating ideas, you're developing something, you're working behind the scenes. And then the sun goes into Gemini, May the 20th, for 4 weeks. And that's putting a real spotlight on new beginnings, more visibility, more leadership. But as that sun at the end of May is going into your sign, going into Gemini, here's the Venus, Neptune, Saturn now all aligned in Aries by the 24th of May. Now, the sun goes into Aries on the 20th of May, but on the 26th of May will be the new moon. The new moon will help to really draw your attention and focus to a lot of new beginnings. Now, if you are born a couple of days around May the 26th, that's the day of the new moon, especially like the 25th, 26th, of course, 27th, maybe even up to the 28th. Having your birthday on a new moon could happen every 19 years, doesn't happen very often, that you could be within 3 to 6 months, that's the general rule of thumb, moving down a new path. And with the Venus, Neptune, Saturn all in the 11th, you are manifesting your long-range dreams and aspirations on one level. You could be getting involved with a collective, a group, an organization to manifest your goals. But it's also a time with Saturn because Saturn was in Pisces up until May the 24th when it went into Aries. And for me, I generally don't talk about my horoscope, but when Saturn was in Pisces, it was transiting my 11th house of friendships. And a friend just and I just parted ways. I still think it's temporary, but that was a real surprise. Or you could say the friendship of the 11th house was being tested, and maybe it will all come back now that Saturn is leaving Pisces. Now, Mars is the planet associated with Aries. Mars is the warrior planet. Aries is the fighter. Mars in Leo is very extroverted, very outgoing. Mars was in Aries last November, December. It retrograded back into Cancer towards the end of April. It went back into Aries. And so all of May, Mars, for the last time, is in Aries. It comes back more in another 2 years. But passionate Mars, the ruler of Aries, is in Leo. So Mars is very compatible and really supporting that Venus, Neptune, Saturn in the 11th house of all your ideals and dreams and aspirations. And part of how you're going about it is the Mars in Leo is 3 signs past Gemini. The third sector of the chart is communications and ideas and learning. You could be taking a lot of classes. That could be the third house, to learn new job skills. Or you could be doing a lot of interviewing and meetings to get more work projects or get a new job. This is great for selling, because you'd have a lot of passion to sell yourself or to sell your products. And with the third house, that could be acting, writing, speaking, with all this gusto and passion. So, that Venus, Neptune, Saturn, beginning of this big paradigm shift, focusing on one hand, your long-range goals and aspirations. So Gemini, many Gemini rising, whatever has been your lifelong dream, for many of you, you're going to start working towards it, and you're going to start believing it can manifest. I want to thank you for watching. If you'd like information on how to book an astrology reading or to check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co. That's .co. Until next month, be safe and well.